to Strait of Malacca, to Bay of Bengal, to Arabian Sea, and of course to Europe. This ignite a lot of attentions to Indo-Pacific as well as blue economies. Now, these two lines was developed into 7 economic corridors, 6 of them located on shores, and 1 maritime sea road located offshores, mainly focused on how to facilitate sea transportations, how to develop port facilitations, how to support the blue economies along these maritime economies. And of course, we see so many tangible projects right now. For example, Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar economic corridor. Of course, this is not the new thing. This BCIM is not start from China back in the year 2012, but we talked a lot about this before the millennia. In the year 1999, this is the attempts of local people, Bangladesh, India, especially northeastern India, Myanmar, and in order to find the way to develop a hinterland, especially northeastern areas of India, to get access to the sea via, for example, port of Chitwe in Myanmar, via Chittagong in Bangladesh, and of course, to link the logistic systems. And they would like to go beyond just only the development of infrastructures. They also talk about the development of regional economic integrations in this area. However, when President Xi Jinping from China announced this project to be part of Itai Ilu, or Belt and Road initiatives, people lost the focus on other areas, but focused only on infrastructure development. And of course, this also creates another problems as well, because when China get involved, it seems like people focus not only economic reasons, but they also have a lot of concerns on the issues of securities. Of course, we see China from geopolitics point of view that China tried to expand its sphere of influence via economic influence, right? Another project is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. This is the new infrastructure systems for the whole countries of Pakistan. And of course, this changed a lot of geopolitical landscapes in South Asia, right? During the Cold War, Pakistan seems to be a very good friend with US. And of course, during some times, India is a very good friend with Russia. And then when US tried to use the containment policy in order to contain Soviet, US tried very hard to make friends with Pakistan. But after 9/11, Pakistan is not a very good friend with the US anymore, right? And India seems to turn it upside down right now. Narendra Modi visit White House with Donald Trump, for example. Hence, there's a lot of change in geopolitics happen right now, because right now US don't want to contain Russia anymore, but they would like to contain China. Like I showed you on the very first slide, in the year 2050, the largest economy in the world will be China. And of course, from the survey back in the US, the most important national security threat to US is the expansions of China rising. Hence, right now, US try very hard to contain China. That's why they make a good friend with India, even North Korea, and of course Russia, in order to contain China again and again. Hence, there's a lot of changing in geopolitical point of view that get involved through the development in blue economies, focus on the area of Indo-Pacific. And of course, they also have a lot of furious tag along with the China-Pakistan economic corridor as well, especially from Afghanistan, from Iran, and of course from India, right? For the 21st Maritime Sea Road, for example, in Myanmar, Chao Pil area on the far western side of Myanmar, of course, there's a lot of reports to talk about the potentials of China to leverage a port at Chao Pil for military purpose, as well as Hambantota in Sri Lanka. When they talk a lot about China also would like to develop this area not only for seaport, but for naval facilities as well. In Gawada, Pakistan, another thing also happens, right? And this increased tensions between India and Pakistan a lot. In Shabaha, Iran, these situations also happens. India's efforts to help develop Iran Shabaha ports reflect Delhi's own ambitions as a driver of infrastructure development and improve regional connectivities, particularly with Afghanistan. Of course, when Pakistan make a very good friend with China, India also need a good friends to balance Pakistan as well, and Afghanistan seems to be a very good choice. Hence, right now, the challenges when we talk about blue economies in Indo-Pacific, it's the untapped international trade and investment potentials. However, this challenge also comes with economic development without concerning on geopolitical issues, security issues. And of course, these create a lot of trust crisis. China start with a very good intentions to find a new trade partners and develop infrastructures, especially port infrastructures. But now, a lot of people see this as the inventions, as the security threats. Hence, the problems of trust crisis occur. And the root cause of this trust crisis,
1 minute.
yes, come from imbalance of power, misperceptions, international and domestic policies, identity bias. Hence, in order to resolve this trust crisis, I would like to propose this new model of development. In order, of course, we need to pay more attention on local demand. And each countries along the Indo-Pacific regions also would like very much to reduce their poverties, also would like to fix their income inequality problems to ensure the sustainable development. However, this is domestic affairs. And each countries don't want other countries to interfere with their domestic affairs. This is the thing we need to keep in mind. Hence, the China model to develop in that kind of countries seems to create a lot of trust crisis because it interferes domestic affairs. Hence, we may have to start with a more prudent foreign relations policy via international trade and investment policy to create a solid foundations of regional and local SME. For example, in the case of Indonesia, my colleagues just presented to you earlier, infrastructure development, connect the FDI, foreign direct investment project, with the special economic zones. People also talk a lot about special economic zone along the Indo-Pacific rim in order to create a global supply chain via this area. And when this thing happens, Thailand and Indo-Pacific state will integrate it into a global value chains and create a new engine of growth, a high-quality export-led growth. And this will bring prosperities to each of our neighbor countries along Indo-Pacific. However, this is not enough. We also need two more things. A strategic assistance program, of course, from Thailand and from other countries to help these connectivities, to improve poverties, and of course, people-to-people connectivities. The understanding of socio-cultural linkage seems to be a very, very important assistance. And when these things combine together, we will create another development cycle, more like a cyclical thing. And of course, another thing I would like to propose is we should use the system of joint development agreement, or the JDA, in order to develop this area. And this is the step-by-step I try to propose to use JDA to be a means to develop this area together in the fashion of sustainable development. However, we have to make sure that we concern about environmental issues, human security issues. We also talk about fisheries, tourism corporations, which this is a good starting point. However, we also have to concern about the problems of overfishing, IUU, and sustainable tourism. We may have to use UNCLS, we may have to review it again, especially Article 122 and 123 as a framework for an ocean good governance. And of course, the transformations of the way of thinking, the mindset of the people along this Indo-Pacific rim is the most important starting point. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.